at Tourism Administration and Hospitality from MES College Marampally. So with this brief introduction, now I request to you, madam, please start your presentation on today's topic, responsible tourism. You are most welcome, madam.
Thank you for the invite, Mr. Prashant. Am I audible to all? Yeah.
Yes, madam,
So,
you are.
so before moving on to my presentation, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude and appreciation to Dr. Batekar. Sir, this is such an excellent effort to conduct a series of presentation on a multidisciplinary basis. I'm extremely happy and proud to be a part of this. So, congratulations to you and your team, sir. So, can I share my presentation?
You may please, madam.
Yeah. Is it visible?
Yes, madam, yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So I am here to discuss on the topic of responsible tourism. So basically, what I meant through my presentation is what is the necessity of responsible tourism or practicing responsible tourism. I strongly believe that all of my participation of this session are directly or indirectly are the tourism stakeholders, either as travelers or as service providers, right? So definitely, I think I could make a little change for creating a responsible travel in you. So let me start with a beautiful quote from Jawaharlal Nehru. He has stated that we live in a wonderful world that is full of beauty, charm, and adventure. There is no end to the adventures we can have if only we seek them with our eyes open. So, dear all, just think of navigating us through the Mekong River in a slow boat, savoring the authentic cuisine of a street vendor in Morocco, and reflecting on the life's mystery amid the ancient temples of Angkor and Machu Picchu, admiring the artwork within the Sistine Chapel and Taj Mahal. Yes, this is what Nehru has stated. Our wonderful world has many diverse destinations for all type of passengers. The diversity of our world unites us and gives us a chance to explore and engage and experience the best that the local culture and communities have to offer. So, respecting our world and all that make us different and unique will enhance our travel experience. So, whether you take up your trip to a tropical beach or a city or a tranquil village, if you act responsibly, you will earn the respect of host communities. So we'll just go through the recent tourist statistics. As you can see in the slide, tourism industry is contributing about 7.6 percentage of global GDP in 2022. Therefore, the contribution accounts to 7.7 trillion US dollars. So coming to the Indian tourism statistics, India ranks 14th position and provide a share of 2.08 in international tourism despite of all the hurdles caused by the COVID pandemic. Also, there is a growth rate of 106.8% on the foreign exchange earnings. So you could imagine how big is the impact of tourism industry in a global market. Uh, so, like any other industry, these two have both positive and negative impacts. So, when a tourism industry becomes a resounding successful story, such growth cannot come up with any negative impacts. Therefore, there are both positive and negative economic, social, and environmental impacts of the tourism. Some of you might be wondering why she is up into the discussion of tourism impact. Because to move on with this topic, I have to cover upon the what the impact the tourism has created on today's industry. So I'll just move on to the major environmental impacts that are overdevelopment. It is an excessive development of the tourism attractions, services, or facilities without considering the environmental factors that lead to the overcrowding. This will obviously lead to the destruction of environment due to the over exploitation of the resources that bring disturbances in the environment, thereby leading to the destruction of the ecosystem, which pave way to the threatening of the flora and fauna. So, and as per the current IUCN Red List, there are about 16,900 animal species that comprises of mammals, reptiles, birds, insects are listed as threatened. That is, each account to 22 percentage of increase that of the figures of the previous year in 2007. So this is one of the astonishing fact. The major negative impact of the major negative environment impact, and also the depletion of natural resources. The scarcity of natural resources is a growing concern. Particularly, water is greatly misused in the sector. Also, the consumption of both renewable and non-renewable resources also creates greenhouse gases as effect. And also next impact is the pollution. Pollution includes or covers all the air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, and the noise pollution. So and last is the negative impact is the overconsumption and waste production. According to the UNEP estimates that a guest can generate between 1 kg to 12 kg of solid waste per day when visiting a new place. And it's also when you come across the hotel industry waste, it accounts about 2 lakh 89,700 tons of waste globally per year. So these are the negative impacts. Move on to the carbon emissions, world carbon emissions. As you can see, tourism is responsible for bringing about 8% of world's carbon emissions. Among that, you can find that 49% is coast. That is half of the nearly the half of the carbon emission is caused due to the transportation services. I'll just quickly move to the next slide where you can clearly see the carbon dioxide emissions by the mode of transportation. So you can see that the air segment is the segment that causes a higher hazard on the part of carbon dioxide emission, which is the least falls in the ferry segment. Um, so these are the, then I'll just quickly go through an astonishing factor that is, it would take an acre of a forest a year. I repeat, it would take an acre of forest a year to absorb the same amount of carbon dioxide emissions that a one-way flight from London to New York creates. So this is about the same type of emissions that an average person creates over an entire year. So that just that much emissions has been created by the transportation industry on the account of tourism. Next, I will just quickly move on to the food waste, which is also a monumental factor. As you can see, every year, one third of the food product produced for the consumption is either lost or wasted. So it's also an astonishing figure for the global carbon emission, because you can consider that all the energy, water, other resources that go into the transporting and processing and selling food, as well as these emissions and the other products generated along with it. So the disposing of unused food also further impacts our ecosystem and the landfills. So it is also expected that by 2030, food waste is expected to increase by 60%. And destruction of carbon sinks. Moving on to that, the tourism development, of course, has cleared many natural areas. To ecosystems such as the forest act as a carbon sinks by absorbing, as you all know, it acts as a carbon sinks by absorbing and storing these carbon dioxide emissions. But when this carbon rich vegetation is being removed, the carbon dioxide is released back into the atmosphere. Also about the mangrove forest, which has a capacity to store 4 times more than the tropical forest, also is being clear for infrastructure developments for the seaside resources, beaches, and all. So this the destruction of carbon sinks is also a major issue. As you can see, the other fact is that the world is losing a football-sized area of a tropical forest every 5 seconds, causing that same amount of carbon emissions that 400 million cars would produce over an year. These are few pictures that can depict on the overcrowding. These are the negative impacts, coral bleaching. As you all know that the corals have an algae in their tissues. When the when the water gets too warm, these corals expel those algae. So that will ultimately turn into a white matter. So when as the coral is the source to many fishes and the living organisms, the coral bleaching due to the impact of tourism activities has created a coral bleaching also. And you can see the waste disposal. This is near to the famous Taj Mahal. It's even though Taj Mahal is one of the seven wonders, this is the condition of our impact of the tourism. Carrying capacity. There is always a capacity for a destination to undergo a tourism process. As you can see that in this picture also, it's beyond the capacity. Many people practice mass tourism. So carrying capacity is also a factor. Now we'll move on to the negative social impacts. First is the commodification. It takes place when the tourism demand mutates and sometimes destroy the meaning of cultural performance and events to suit the needs and wishes of the tourists. Also, next is the increased crime and gambling. As tourists bring new money, there is a chance of increased crimes such as prostitution, drug dealing, illegal gambling, robbery, like that. Also, third impact is the host tourist conflict. Fourth one is the loss of the traditional values and skills is also another negative social impact. Then is the seasonal employment is also another factor because the employment is mainly because it depends upon the seasons. Tourism is mainly depending upon the season. So only many are employed during only the peak season. So seasonal employment is also one of the negative impacts. Moving on to the negative economic impacts, there is first is the inadequate sharing of the tourism benefit, tension from wage and income disparities. Then moving on to the other, increased economic dependency on one sector, inflated land and housing prices and living cost, economic leakage. If you see the economic leakage and amount spent by the tourist at a destination is lost to the other either to other economies or the other countries. So that is also these are the few negative economic impacts. So what I'm trying to say is that it's all because of this impact a sustainable development was widely addressed or recognized. So this mass tourism has paved way for an alternative development. As part of that, a sustainable development was widely recognized. It was actually became the concept gathered a momentum during the 1987 Bertland report. So this sustainable development has many forms, that is ecotourism, green tourism, soft tourism, rural tourism, agro-tourism, community tourism, equitable tourism, and responsible tourism, which is our topic today. So I'm just depicting those different forms of sustainable tourism, the figure, that's all. Then how the responsible tourism came into a limelight. So it was through the Cape Town Declaration. Though the concept was evolved from 1996, It was only after this Cape Town declaration a detailed picture was evolved. So there were about 20 representatives from different countries. UNWTO and UNEP representatives also were part of this Cape Town declaration. So it was basically the first international conference on responsible tourism held in Cape Town in the year of 2002. So the basically outcome was the participant formulated many guiding principles for an RT implementation. RT means responsible tour implementation, which became the founding principles of responsible tourism today. So why responsible tourism, or what is responsible tourism? So there is a new way when tourists say no to mass tourism or no to irresponsible or operators and resorts, because they are destroying the local environment. So when that created, responsible tourism was then opening to them. So art is basically regarded as behavior rather than a tourism activity. So these tourists really want or like to experience a qualitative experience. So it emphasized that all the stakeholders are responsible for the kind of the tourism they develop or engage in. So just a definition is simple definition is making better places for the people to live in and better places for the people to visit. So basically, it is an approach to manage and conduct tourism that minimizes the negative impact but enhances the positive impacts. It is the idea that the tourist actors, that means the travelers, local communities, NGOs, government bodies, tourism managers, employees are responsible to safeguard a sustainable development of the communities, cultural heritage, the environment, either by exhibiting a responsible behavior or by creating frameworks or policies that safeguard the principles of responsible tourism. So, why responsible tourism? This has become more relevant because traveling has become a personal, selfish activity where tourists seldom take care of the places they are visiting. So, the obligation of organizations to make decisions and take actions, to act morally to the society, to the environment, towards a sustainable planet at a large. Therefore, it takes an interest in the wider issues that have no direct impact on profit margins. Also, the threat of social exploitation of resources legally and morally obligated to sustain and repay to the society. Also, the immediate and the long-term social and environmental activities are the features that makes why a responsible tourism is relevant. Now, coming to the core aspects of RT or sustainable tourism development, these are the three core elements, that is environmental, social, and economical. It can be said in three P's, that is planet, profit, and people. I'm sorry, I haven't wrote people there. Instead of a one planet, it has to be a people, planet, people, and profit. These are the three P's of or the core RT components. So, what is environmental or planet stand for? It means that it is the optimal use of the environmental resources. We have to maintain the essential and ecological process and help to conserve the natural heritage and biodiversity. And the second core element is the social. Social, it stands for the people. We have to respect, conserve, and the social, cultural authenticity and heritage. Also, we have to respect the people's traditional values. We have to contribute to their intercultural understanding and tolerance as well. So that is people and social stands for. And the economic part, it comes for the profit, of course. So it has to be ensure viable long term benefit to all the participants, ensure a fair distribution of all the economic benefits, including the social services as well. Also, it has to be it has to be there should be a contribution for the poverty alleviation as well. So these three P's is or the sustainability as a role of protecting and maximizing the benefits of this planet, people, and profit. These three P's can be also known as the triple bottom line, which is being depicted in a figure basis. So these three are interrelated for a sustainable development of any destination. There has to be a social responsibility, environmental responsibility, and economic responsibility for a sustainable development of a tourism destination. And what are the keys to responsible tourism? There are three key elements, that is, be accountable. What is be accountable? It means to understand and accept responsibility. That is, to every action, and because every action and a decision has an impact. Second key element is a have capacity. We have to acquire required knowledge, skill, and resources to take action based upon sound ethics, morals, and laws of our society. And the third key element is the respond to make positive changes. That is, make decisions. Sorry, make decisions that have most positive benefit on people, environment, and economy around us. Now we will look into the benefits of RT. Let's see how RT is benefited to business category. As listed, RT meets consumer tourism demands by offering responsible travel experiences. Thus, it adds values to the products offered by RT package. Also, the community involvement and support for the services offered is at a great extent. As the impact is less, it creates a positive media attention as well. As it focuses on the minimum resources or infrastructure for tourist activity, it saves money. And employees engaging in responsible activities, exhibiting responsible behavior and safeguard sustainable framework. So therefore, it retains the staff involved. The benefits of RT to the visitors. I hope I'm audible, right? Yeah.
Yes, madam. You are audible.
Okay. RT benefits of RT to the visitors. So the benefits of RT to the visitors, it creates an increasing environmental and social consciousness, increasing demand. That is, among the visitors, there is an increasing demand to get back to the nature. Also, there is an increasing demand for an authentic experiences. Also, the visitors mostly demand for green experiences. They have an deeper meaning in their travel, so they understand how to be a responsible traveler. So these are the benefits as a visitors. And the benefits of RT to the host or the local community. The benefits include the increased value of cultural and environmental heritage. Second is generate the revenue for heritage protection. It promotes enhancement of infrastructure, promotes gender empowerment, stimulate business for the host community. It creates economic opportunity, and also it support the community-based tourism. RT is an tourism where the involvement of host cannot be neglected, or it is on a higher side. Now, moving on to the principles of responsible tourism, the focus on physical environment, tourist behavior, and the policies formed by the local and the national authorities. These are the three principles of responsible tourist. So I repeat, it is the focus on the physical environment, tourist behavior, and the third one is the policies. Um, so, focus on the physical environment. Emissions from, as we have already discussed, the emissions from the transportation vehicles has already contributed about 70% of the environmental impact. So is the case with the accommodation. It has an environmental impact factor of 25 percentage. So the focus have to be the responsible tourism initiatives when they are into the consideration. The focus has to be on the physical environment, how it will be contributing to the environmental impact. Now to the second principle is the tourist behavior. This is guided basically by the three main principles. First is to understand the culture we are visiting, or the culture of the destination one is going to. Second is to respect and be sensitive to the people who are hosting your visit. We have to be compassionate. We have to be sensitive to the people, to the local community. Third is to treat softly on the environment of your host, because the environment doesn't belong to the travelers alone. It is the environment which has to be considered for the future aspect. So these are the tourist behavior. We need to focus on the culture. We have to be compassionate to the people who are hosting. We have to be treat softly on the environment. So these are the basically tourist behavior that has to be focused on. And now the policies. So the policies must focused on or the policies formulated for an RT implementation should really focus on limiting the energy consumption. It should focus on the recycling procedures followed. It should focus on the environmental awareness in general, and also it support the character of the local community. So the policies, what are policy the government is being formulating for a RT destination, it has to be considering the energy consumption factors, recycling factors, and environmental awareness factors, and the local communities character as well. So that is what the three principle is of. So the characteristics of responsible tourism, obviously, as we have been discussing, it has to be a minimum negative environmental, economic, and social impact. And of course, the first greater is that it should generate greater economic benefits for the local people, and it should enhance the well-being of the local people. Their working conditions should be improved, and they should have an access to the tourism industry as well. And the decision in the decision making process, the local people should be a involvement of the local people should be a greater factor also. Then comes the positive contribution should for the conservation of the natural and the cultural heritage to the maintenance of the world's diversity. Also, to the tourist or to the visitor, it should provide a enjoyable experiences. That is through a meaningful connection with the host community or the local people, a greater understanding between the host and the guest through their local cultural, social, and environmental issues. And also, this RT aspect consider access for the physically challenged people also. And last is the it should be a cultural sensitive activity where respect between the host and tourist is very crucial, and should bring up the local confidence, local pride through this responsible tourism activities. Now, the economic responsibility, that is the triple bottom line. What is all responsible economic responsibility? So, accessing the economic impact before developing this tourism is the major that would benefit the local community is to minimize the negative impact on the local livelihoods. Second is the maximize local economic benefits by increasing leakages and reducing leakages, by ensuring that the all the people, that is the communities involved, benefited from the economic leakages maximum reduced. Then quality product complete profit is also a relevant factor. Then market tourism in ways that reflect the natural, cultural, and social integrity of the destination and which encourage appropriate forms of tourism. Next is adopt equitable business practices, pay and charge fair prices, build partnerships in ways in which risk is minimized and shared. So recruit and employ staff recognizing the international labor standards. Last is the provide appropriate and sufficient support to small, medium, and micro enterprises to ensure a sustainable and a thriving industry. So these are the social, economic responsibility. Moving on to the social responsibility. Uh, means social responsibility means it is the active involvement of the local community in the process of planning, decision making, and capacity building. So also to access the social impact through the operation that it starts from the planning, designing phases of the product to ensure that there is minimum negative impact and maximum positive impacts. Then other responsibilities ensure to make tourism as an inclusive social experience and to ensure it is being accessible for all, particularly to the vulnerable and disadvantaged communities and individuals. So that is also a responsibility. Then to combat with the sexual exploitation of human beings, particularly the exploitation of children and women. Then the social responsibilities be sensitive to the host culture, maintain and encourage their social and cultural diversity. And last is the it is an to ensure that tourism contributes to improvement of the local communities' health and education. So any project should fulfill or must focus on these criteria as a social responsibility. Next is the environmental responsibility. Access the environmental impacts through the life cycle of a tourist establishment, including from the planning and the designing phases, so that the negative impacts are being reduced. So use the resources sustainably because we have a future generations to look into it. So reduce waste, reduce overconsumption. So these are the environmental responsibility and maintain our natural diversity, manage accordingly when appropriate, restore it, and respect the integrity of the vulnerable ecosystem and protected areas. Also, another responsibility, it should promote education and awareness for sustainable development for all the participants, for all the tourism stakeholders. This awareness of sustainable tourism or the educational role is also a relevant aspect. And the last is the raise the capacity of all the stakeholders to ensure a best practice is followed uh, to for a sustainable and environmental responsibility. So these are the environmental responsibility factors. Now, RT in Kerala, responsible tourism in Kerala, because Kerala destination is being recognized in the world as a tourism, I mean, responsible tourism model. So that is why I have taken a consideration into RT in Kerala also. This initiative is being done through a pilot destinations in four places. So these are the four pilot destination. First one was the Kovalam, which is a beach destination. As you can see, it is in many of might be knowing, it is in Trivandrum, and Kumaragam, that is a backwater destination. It is in Kottayam, and Tekadi. It is situated in Idukki, and it focuses on the forest and wildlife. And Wayanad is also in nature, and then it focuses on the ethnic life. These were the four different destinations on a four different aspects has been taken as a pilot destination whether responsible tourism can be a feasible model here. So Kerala tourism was successful in conducting, and the outcome of this or the output of this uh, destination study or the RT models was it build up industry community good relationship. So the community and the tourism industry have been in a cordial way. So the industry community cordial was one of the greatest outcome of this, and also active community involvement in tourism development. Unlike the other type of tourism, responsible tourism or has a active involvement throughout from the planning to the decision all the full process, and active community involvement was involved. Then the third benefit or the third outcome was it generates economic benefits for the local people. So the local community were the main benefiters of these RT destinations. There were many women entrepreneurs, then many um, poor community was empowered due to the economic benefits. That was the greater impact of the responsible tourism, because many artisans who were deprived of their works, or many deprived categories was come forward or empowered, especially the women was empowered through the benefits that has been created through responsible tourism. Next outcome is minimized negative impact towards the culture and host life, because passengers or all the stakeholders involved in this process have a responsible behavior. So it minimizes the impact on the host life and the culture, and many positive impacts. Then participatory planning and implementation, since the community itself is forms the part of the decision or planning phase, participatory approach or planning and implementation was a great success. And as a systematic and comprehensive destination planning was done through the different cells. And the final is the scientific practices to preserve environmental and biodiversity. There were many recycling process, many organic methods were also implemented to preserve environment or to preserve biodiversity. So these are the major outputs or the major outcomes of the RT in Kerala. And triple P model, the public private partnership model, was widely accepted in the RT initiatives of Kerala, because tourism development or the tourism department or the DTPC, District Tourism Promotion Council, was the people behind the policy initiatives, and also it provides relation for the RT initiatives among the stakeholders. And the local bodies like the panchayat or members were the lead role for the field program, provide financial and institutional support through schemes or different sources. And the industry, tourism industry, it is an not the activities uh, at this model. Uh, more, so and and part product procurement and supply of goods. Also in has empowerment through this triple P model. Then the local community, they were able to preserve their local culture, values, nature, and enhance the local goods, because many artisans which were capable of doing local products or services were benefited. So the tourist will come up to experience this village like experiences. So they will have a tourism friendly attitude and practice capacity can be industry needs. So this is the triple C model where all the government, local bodies, women units, local community and industry all form together for a responsible tourism. And why youngster? And to point out the responsible, Kumaragam was being recognized in the world for innovation and in public policy and government. So it was awarded UNWTO's Ulzi's award for a successful RT model. So Kumaragam, among those four pilot destinations, Kumaragam was the most successful one, and it is been the model for many responsible tourism destinations. And moving on to the youngsters and responsible tourism. Why I have focused on youngsters? Because you all might know more than 50% of the population, especially in India, that is accounts younger generation. So they are the major force behind sustainability. So when an awareness is created among them on responsible tourism, this could actually result in increased engagement and long lasting effects. Also, they would engage, the youngsters can contribute through the engaging local communities and through businesses. Also, they take care of the environmental, socio-economic, and cultural footprint. Promote also the promoting the conception among the peers. They, because the youngsters are the people who have a much connections over this. So the promotion of this concept is easier among the younger generation, and they are getting benefited through the creation of employment positions through a responsible and a sustainable sector. So this is what I am focusing on. So hope I have. So that's what. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam, for your excellent presentation on the topic responsible tourism. Now I request all the participants, please, if you have any query regarding today's topic, you are most welcome. Please.
Hello. Good evening, Dr. Bedkar, sir. Prashant, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you very much for discussing the word tourism. And it is a big industry, tourism, from its point of view. And for the tourists also, it is one of the media, through which they can go easily to the various places. Definitely, it is one of the wonderful industry. I want to focus one attention about the health aspect. When we are talking about tourism, so the health is very important because we are going to the other place. The atmosphere is different, and food is different, the culture is different, and the practices are different. So many of the times, we are exposing our health for some kind of challenges. So this science is called as emporiatrics, and this emporiatrics is one of the very important science. So madam, when we are talking about tourism, from industry point of view also and from tourist point of view also, what do you think, how we can give hint and how we can create awareness among the tourists, because we are going for some religious places also or something like that, and then we take a bath in the river or something like that. So what kind of care we should take, how we create that awareness among the population? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. To your question, to answer to your question, I would suggest that hygiene plays a crucial role, especially in meeting up this. What do you call the food? Because food is a component which we cannot be taken off from the tourism process. So, like another aspect, like accommodation, transportation, food is also a component that has to be included. So the standard or the quality has to be measured based on the hygienic factors. So I usually prefer, it is always to take suggestions. If you are going through a travel agent or a tour representatives, it's always advisable to take suggestions from the tour operators and mostly avoid food from the street vendors. I know that are the community that is being depending on this economic terms, but still, if you avoid to some extent taking food from the street vendors, I believe it may help you out. I hope I have answered your query.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
So, thank you. Hi.
Just I want to introduce myself. Yeah, yesterday, Dr. Bedkar he invited me, and I'm really honored to be part of this intelligent group of the people. Definitely, we'll get chance to learn a lot of things, and it's a recycle process. Always, I believe. So in this recycle process, definitely there will be a good cycle that will help me to learn a lot of things. This is the thing, and I really appreciate. I got chance to learn a lot of things about the tourism. I was not aware on many such things. So when there will be a people, they will be asking. So at least couple of things I can help. So this is the benefit for today's presentation on my end. Thank you. Yes, on 28th.
So, thank you, Dr. Swanand Shukla, sir, for asking a nice query. Ma'am, you have answered it sincerely. So, thank you very much. Now, I request to the chief organizer of the series, the principal of Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya Ausa, Honorable Principal M.M. Bedkar, sir. Sir, please welcome and have some good words for today's session. Please welcome. Thank you very much, sir. Now I move towards the vote of thanks. Sri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya Ausa, District Latur, organized World Record Series 2. Today was 188th day of the series, and the topic for today's presentation was responsible tourism, which have been explained by today's keynote speaker, Honorable Dr. Amisha Antony, Madam. Ma'am, you have really explained the topic sincerely, clearly. Really, but you made it so easy to understand to all of us. I first you explain what is responsible tourism, why responsible tourism, then what are its benefits, and what it is responsible tourism in tourism industries. What is responsible tourism in India, as well as giving different examples upon the responsible tourisms. Then the principle of responsible tourisms, then the and responsible tourisms for all those participants. So thank you very much for explaining this topic sincerely, and you paid your valuable time to us, taking a new topic in front of us. So thank you very much, madam. I really appreciate your lecture in today's session. So I extend sincere thanks. I am very thankful to the chief organizer of the series, Honorable Principal Ambedkar sir. Then thanks to the the colleagues from my college, Dr. Kale sir, Dr. Anita Dhole madam, Honorable Praveen Udige sir. Sincere thanks to Dr. Swanand Shukla sir for asking who always take a sense in the interaction session, give some views from his sides. So thank you very much, sir. And at last, I thanks each and every participants who join the series regularly. Now I request to all the participants, please fill the feedback link which is given in the chat box. So with the kind permission, I declare that today's session is over. Thank you. Thanks once again, Dr. Amisha madam, for being with us. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. I forget to take the name of Kumarswami madam. Is on the screen. So I'm very sorry, madam, but we feel very happy to see you on the screen. So thank you very much. You join every day. Really, we appreciate your presence every day. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
madam.
I will try my best. No, sorry. Okay, everything is all right. No, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Good night, everyone.